Hi, welcome to The Witch in the Woods. It's a little bit of a different video that I've planned today. I've done 3 videos now, I think, on Samhain. I know we've gone past Samhain, but I'm actually drawn to do a card reading. Sort of a bit of divination for the coming year, which is quite traditional around Samhain. Now, I've obviously missed the night of the 31st. I also missed doing it on the full moon. But today is the 4th of November, which is drawing up to the Druidic Samhain. So I thought what I'd do is a little bit of a card reading that's sort of relevant to anybody who might be watching, or maybe the year ahead's events. I am not a professional card reader. I just do it for my own amusement, really, most of the time. But I do like using tarot cards. There's something about tarot cards that makes you question the very reality of existence. So it makes me question the reality of existence. Mainly because you can predict things that are major flavours in coming events. And I don't know if, like me, you've ever had a dream that sort of predicted a future event or predicted meeting somebody. And these are strange dippings into the world of macrocosmic time, where time exists simultaneously. Well, I don't really know what it does. Major events seem to have echoes that you can pick up on in the present. So, without going too deeply into that, it's definitely something I would like to question more, is how can you predict, especially through the use of symbols, things that may come to pass. Now, yet again, a bit of a disclaimer is that when you read tarot cards, it's not destined to come to pass. It's not predicting your future as such. It is just giving you trends that may become apparent. So in some ways, perhaps what is happening now leads directly into certain threads of what may be in the future, which is the only way I can understand on how you can pick up on things that may be future events and things to come to pass. A little bit of a blurb over. I've got a whole lot of tarot cards here, so I'm going to use some of my favourites because it takes some time to learn your way around a deck, I think. And so I am going to use the decks that I know most, which is this the Druid Craft Tarot. I might have to read from the book now and then. But the Druid Craft Tarot by Phillip Gomm and illustrated by Will Worthington, Phil and Stephanie Carr. Then a quick tour through my tarot decks. I like this one, the Akashic Tarot. When I first got this deck, I thought it wasn't a very good deck. I didn't like it. It rubbed me up the wrong way. It only had 8 cards in the run before you got to the Jack, King, Queen. It's got different suits, it's got different meanings, and I thought, how can you do this? But actually, the more I worked with this tarot deck, the more accurate I found it, and it is incredibly intuitive. So, putting aside my prejudices that there should be 10 court cards, I actually do like this deck. So this is Sharon and Klinger and Sandra and Taylor, the Akashic Tarot. Let's see if it'll focus on there. The other decks that I like, I may not use them all, but I'll introduce you to my favourite decks. This is also Sandra and Taylor, and these are the Energy Oracle cards. And I don't use these quite as often as I should, but they are a good deck. I'll open them up and you can have a look at them in a minute. I have I use these a lot because these are beautiful and simplistic, and they're just a single word and a symbol, but incredibly insightful. So I like this deck, John Holland, the Psychic Tarot. Stack these here. I'll probably pick one of all of them, which means I could be here a while. Kyle Gray, these are nice, the Keepers of the Light Oracle cards. I would like the Ancestors, I can't remember what the other deck's called, I'd really like that deck, but I haven't got it yet. I might get it for my Christmas to myself gift, I'm not sure. But that's a Kyle Gray deck, he's quite good. He kind of took over from Doreen Virtue, didn't he, in readings and Hay House publication there. And then this battered old deck of, well, the box is battered. The Faery Oracle. This is by Lucy Cavendish, and these are beautifully illustrated, very insightful, light-hearted, and quite healing cards to use. So I'm going to use some of these as well. I've got more decks, but I just grabbed my favourite and the ones I know the best. If I don't know them, I have no shame in reading the guidebook. So I am just going to use mainly, I think, these Druid cards, and I might pick one or two of the other decks. So I've just been trying to tune in. I'm actually also a Reiki master and a Seiken master. So what I try to do before I do any reading is invite in spirits and ask spirit to increase my intuitive and clairvoyant abilities. I also ask them to raise the energy of the room and to tune me into anything that I may need to know or may need to channel for the reading that I'm doing or any healing that I'm doing. So what should we do? I think we'll do a 4-card quick reading of the Druid. So this is like past, present and future, and then I like to do an underlying card that gives the whole flavour. So some people cut the deck and then deal off the top. I tend to cut the deck whenever I want a card. I don't think there are hard and fast rules. Immediately I'm stumped and thinking, what's the Six of Pentacles? Okay, so the first card, Six of Pentacles. Being in receipt of generosity, being in receipt of goodwill and gifts from another. There's a bit of a kindness coming through to the fore. Just take these as possibilities. Oops, excuse me, kicking the camera. Please just take anything I say as a possibility. I am not the authority, so discard anything that doesn't seem relevant. The Six of Pentacles, there's a need for generosity, there's a need for giving out more, charity especially. And I'm seeing this on the world stage a little as governments deciding it is time to give a little bit more to the people. There is of course the receipt of charity. There's a lot of people who are suffering and in need of some kind of beneficence in the society that we're living in. We need a little bit more generosity from the top down, is what I'm getting. It's also on a personal basis. You may be in receipt of gifts, benefactors, generosity from those who support you. especially as regard to projects, things, things that you need to get underway, things where you may require financial assistance and financial sponsorship to get that underway. So on the whole, there is a generous mood in the air, and don't be ashamed to receive as well. If you're in receipt of that, just be grateful, and look for that goodness in the world. Going to move on. This is coming from an older man, I'm getting. Look for some beneficence from an older and wise community member, an older man. The second card, the Princess of Wands. The Princess of Wands is headstrong, she is determined. It is drive to complete some kind of project or task. There's a little bit of daring do about this character. She is of course a fire sign. It's a little bit, the princesses are a little bit less controlled, so there's a little bit more raw energy surrounding setting out to do a project, a task, a career path, or any kind of plan that you're making, anything that you may want to come to fruition. There's also a daring to explore new territory and go out there and push your way out of the bubble, in a way, to expand your horizons, to push out of anything that may have felt stagnant. And to do this, you may have to take a risk. You may have to be a little bit on the reckless side, take a bit of a dare, rock the boat a little as it was. She's definitely setting her aim at something, setting her sights in the direction of some future that is more beneficial to us, that needs things to be shaken up and broken apart so that a new path and a new plan can emerge. I am just going to quickly go through them and then see if I get anything in a, when that all out. Ooh, the Lovers. So, future relationships, your mind being on some kind of possible future relationship. Things may be coming, somebody may be coming into your life, or you may be thinking of plans for future partnerships. You may have reached a point where you decided you're ready for a relationship, or that you want to aim for something that has a lot of warmth, unconditional love, balance and passion to it. It's a harmonious card, it's quite a harmonious card, so relationship issues in the future. And balance between male and female as well, between more respect in relationships between the male and the female partners. I'm just going to lay one underneath to let me know the flavour of this reading. So, Ace of Cups, emotional health and emotional new beginnings. The beginning of opening your heart and allowing emotions to flow, allowing love into your life, allowing peace in your heart, health in your heart, health and well-being, on an emotional level as well, in your whole life. So this would seem to indicate the beginning of relationships, and especially generosity, setting out on a new path and looking for new relationships, very much healing our emotional selves. And if you have a relationship, not necessarily a new relationship, it may just be a new level of a relationship. And it's so corny to do a tarot reading and say, oh, the lovers, you've got lovers here and it's all about healing your relationships. But, you know, that's what came up. Is there anything more to say about this? I think you've got to go and look for it. You will be receiving some kind of generosity, but which may give you faith in the bountifulness and the generosity of the world. If you've lost that a little, if you felt that you couldn't trust the world, you may receive some kind of sign and signal that the world is actually a generous place, a good place, but also that you've got to, with that spurt of faith now, you have to go out and find new paths and say what you want and say what you mean and go and push your own right to happiness a little, as well as challenging your own comfort zone and being a little bit risk taking in the future. So I'll leave that there because that is that's very emotional. People looking for fulfillment in their personal relationships, possibly the beginning of a new relationship. I've been drawn to this one now. Before I said too much, it said read one of these. So these are Kyle Gray, Keeper of the Light Oracle. I may have to read the guidebook. I don't know these off by heart quite as well, or offhand. Mother Mary, love and peace. It says, let go of the need to be right, choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. So Mother Mary is, of course, a soft and nurturing healing energy. Mother healing, especially where you have wounds with your mother. Maybe you've held something against your mother that's really blocked your life progress too much. Maybe it's time to let that go. Maybe it's time to let go of the argument. Just allow her to be who she is, because some things about your mother may have in the past wounded you. It may have led you on a crooked path. Your life may have been overshadowed by this mother wound, this hurt, that of course goes down through many generations. But the way to open up to that love, to that healing that you want, is to let go of the resentment towards the feminine, the mother, nurturance and love as you've understood it from the past. Is that self-explanatory? Do I need to explain any more about this? Healing will come from women as well. So the word is peace as well, to seek peace in your own heart and in your own mind. So forgiveness, forgive other people for all those psychological wounds that you may have had to explore and dig deeply into. I was watching something the other day, and it was therapy on YouTube, and it was all about your childhood wounds and your relationship wounds, and I was so depressed. At the end of that, I was so utterly depressed, and I thought, I'm not sure therapy really does anyone any good. And because my voice broke up there, I think I should say, don't listen to that. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it bogs you down. So look for the peace. I'm going to pull another one. I'm really drawn to this next card on the pack, which is Shekinah, which I don't know very much about the Shekinah, to be honest. The sacred self. It says, unleash your spirit, express your gifts, dance to the sacred rhythm of life. The Shekinah is the female soul. It's, I'm going to have to read the book. Let me see. Let me just see what it says about the Shekinah. Right, the end here. Okay. I did actually bring reading glasses because it's all fuzzy. So, the Shekinah is the twin flame of the Holy Spirit. It is the female aspect of the God particle or creation energy. She is more of an essence. I'll hold the card actually, it's somewhat interesting. There you go. She is more of an essence than a being, but has the ability to show herself in ways that we will understand. She is acknowledged in the sacred teachings of Judaism and is also called the Sophia of Christ. I thought it was the Sophia. She is a powerful female voice of spirit who is here to bring about equality and to help the world move on from the male-only image of God. She reminds us that God is all loving and all accepting. Whenever she appears in a reading, she points out the change makers, the love creators, and the gift sharers of the world, who are here to unite all the hearts around the world. Extended, the message is, don't feel the need to hold back or dampen your spirits. This is a time to celebrate. There is a feeling of dance and joy around you at this time as you fully recognise your splendour. You are a sacred being who defies gravity every day just by being alive and brings a sense of balance and equality to the world. So, this has been quite feminine, this energy, bringing to the world stage, to politics and to everything that's happening, especially I've just been watching the COP summaries and talking about greenhouse emissions and climate change and how to tackle them. And this is a real sense of that feminine energy coming forth now and saying, look, we've got to draw a line under this domination, under this control. We've got to look for more nurturance, more equality, more recognition of a holistic way of living that encompasses those who cannot speak as well as those who have money and power. I think there is a rise of feminine energy and of a woman. Women will be speaking out. Women will be quite powerful and quite they will change things. Catalytic is something else, isn't it? Yeah, there will be catalysts for change, and this will come particularly from females and from feminine energy, but also women who will speak out, women who will be powerful in what they are saying and will be heard. And of course we're all thinking of Greta right now, of course, aren't we? But it is the female voice that is finally going to have its say. And things like little girls who get ignored, you know, that voice that's been ignored, the little girl who will get swept under the carpet, they're no longer gonna be swept under the carpet. Their voices will be heard. So I'm just going to have a coffee break. Oh, it's gone quite dark in here. So now I'm going to use the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra and Taylor. And I'm going to do a quick one card reading. Just to not spend too long about it. All tied up. So this is the card. Obviously this has some kind of relation to feeling trapped, being unable to say what you want to say, being stuck in a situation you can't leave, you can't move on from very easily. I'm going to read the deck here. Straight to it, that's always good when you can find it almost straight away. So, lack of motion or sense of personal freedom. This card shows a woman tied up with vines. I'll show you the card. With vines around her wrist, body and arms. Receiving this card upright represents a situation in your life where things may be severely stuck. A major drama may be going on around you, stopping you from moving forward. Or it may be that some technicalities are blocked your way. Perhaps you're waiting for a contract to be signed or an agreement to be made. Whatever is holding things up, the restrictions may be feeling quite oppressive at this time. If this isn't technically the case for you, what's tying you up is your own personal stuff. Look at your life and see how you can be your own jailer. Are you tying yourself up with some emotional angst or in a negative habit that you refuse to deal with? If so, it's time to cut the vines and make some serious changes. You needn't live in your self-imposed jail any longer. I feel that. I'm feeling this a little bit. Sometimes moving the whole boundary is an enormous task to overcome inertia, isn't it? Especially when it comes to baggage, the weight of baggage. I'm going to pull another one just to see if we can resolve how to move on from all tied up. The garden and the gate. That's just stepping out there, just looking for that brighter, happier future. I will read the reading. Abundant prosperity, staying safe. So partly this may be to do with gaining prosperity, saving money, having the strength of financial backing behind you. So this card shows a peaceful young woman in a beautifully blossoming garden with colourful flowers all around. However, the gate to the road outside the garden is locked. While the girl wears a key on a chain around her neck, this card upright bodes well for some financial scene. In fact, there may be a lot of money or other personal pleasures coming your way at this time. But be aware, the choice to stay in the seeming security of this lovely garden may actually be motivated by habit or a fear of the unknown. The beauty is enticing and worth enjoying, but you may not be giving your spirit the freedom to roam. While it's fine to amass a great deal of wealth, don't let it keep you from your karmic path or from living your truth. You have the choice to shift your focus, widen your spiritual perspective, and gain the world that is just outside the gates. So, yep, those two cards go together really well. Definitely some self-imposed complacency in your security, comfort zone there. Moving on quickly. I've got so many oracle decks that I have here. Maybe shouldn't use them all, but hey. Now these are the Psychic Tarot by John Holland. Lovely illustrated decks, and all you really do need to do is glance at them most of the time. So I think in relation to everything that's occurred in a reading so far, looking for emotional fulfillment, looking to get out of a rut, letting money be your keeper in many ways. So, light. Looking for the divine light, looking for the deeper joy in life. Truth. Admitting your own truth, admitting to you what the truth of a matter is that you may have been hiding from yourself. The truth will set you free. Go for that one. Conflict and defeat. Something may make you change. Something may come in to rock your world a little bit. Some kind of conflict, some kind of battle. May force your hand if you need that kick up the bottom. So I'm just going to pull fourth one. I never know when to stop. Emotional loss. So deep underneath all this is a feeling of sadness and a feeling of emotional loss and a feeling of the heart not being quite in the right place. Yet again, a desire to move out of a sad situation and into more fulfillment, to heal the soul, to heal the heart. So these may be motivating factors. And the central card of it all is the truth. You have to admit the truth to yourself in order to see this conflict and this defeat not as a defeat of, it may be a difficult circumstance that you find yourself in, but this is in fact an empowering conflict that may be coming your way that is serving to move you out of a place that you're comfortable in, but your heart and soul may be slowly decaying in there. It's all very emotional. It's all about needing to break out of a rut as well. I think many of us have felt the extremities of boredom, extremities of isolation and being trapped, and this has made us think, I think, over the last year of what we can do to shake up our world a bit, because it's been imposed upon us. It gave us time to think as well. Okay, so I've used those decks. Did I use the Akashic? No. So I use this Akashic Tarot now. This is just a tour of my decks, really. I stopped buying decks. I had so many decks. I had a phase of being obsessed in buying decks and really doing readings at every turn. And I decided I had to pull back on it a little bit, so I've not bought a new deck now for a couple of years. Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel is the angel of communication and self-expression, isn't he? He comes and lights up the truth and the true expression, true communication. I'm going to read the cards. I'll read the deck. He's the divine messenger, the angel of communication. He comes with his trumpet and scroll, signifying powerful yet peaceful expression. On his chest he wears the crest of Mercury, the god of communication. This living angel carries the sacred words of truth to the world and brings them easily to you. So there is a connection to Gabriel, and there is a connection to speaking truths that you may not have been able to express. He's also involved in communication such as publishing, counselling, teaching, mediumship, journalism, marketing, radio or television. So he helps you with any of these endeavours. It may also be time to let yourself sing out. So any kind of self-expression is going to help you to unblock your heart and actually, you know, express your truth and move on. I'm going to pick one more of this deck. The One of Keys, the Architect. This deck doesn't have the pentacles, wands and that. It has the keys. I'm not sure what the keys are. They might be the wands. So I found this deck quite hard to work with at first. Once I got the hang of it, I like them quite a lot. There we go. So, he's the architect of all he surveys and points to an unseen building in this expansive project. Throughout the scene, many workers toil on foundations, pylons and palaces. On a mundane level, you could find yourself involved in a building project or renovating or redecorating your home or your workplace. Most importantly, this card shows that it's time for you to step into a position of power. In order to do that, you must recognise your talents and strengths, as well as your authority to take charge. An opportunity beckons that utilises your skills perfectly. Feel the command that you have over this great scope of this situation and take charge. It shows that you have to be specific about your plans or your change of plans. It can also alert you to unseen events or people of influence that are not yet known to you. So being specific and looking out for some kind of help coming your way. Okay, So I'm hoping this is making sense. Definitely where being stuck is concerned, it seems to be about facing your truth, expressing your truth, and making specific plans to allow yourself to move out of a comfort zone, out of a stagnant situation. I'm just going to do one last dip into this, which is the wise wisdom of the Fairy Oracle. I'm getting the idea that this reading is very much about personal level, personal situations, not so much on the world stage. So whether that means there is not anything major happening in the future, I do not know. Maybe on a collective level we need to be specific about our plans, and definitely change the comfort zone. Yeah. There are those factors that are stuck, and they are the male dominant voice. Certain male dominated countries and politics that are stuck and need that feminine wisdom being brought into their authority, into their power. Okay, so these are lovely cards. Stardust, Premonition, Galactic Communications, Beginnings and Endings. I haven't used these sometimes, so excuse me if I read the book. So it says, this beautiful fairy seems somewhat unsettled. She is listening, waiting, reaching out to the galactic web to try and put together pieces of the information she is receiving. For she's experienced a premonition, but as these things go for us all, we are never entirely certain of what will happen, or when. Only that something will happen, and soon. And so she reaches out to what humans call the heavens. She looks to the cycles beyond those of the earth, and wonders if we are all in the process of major change. A change so profound that we have not yet found the words to describe it. She understands that the premonition she has about cycles that reflect those on each. Is about cycles that reflect those on each. But she is unsure what to make of what she is feeling and sensing. So she looks to the night skies at a time when there is peace, stillness and quiet, and gazes above at the life forms and planets and the stars and their galaxies, and knows that she has lived beyond this dimension, and that what may be reaching her is significant far beyond her life, magical as it is. As she gazes up there are baby stars and dying stars. There is stardust, which is sent out by the dying stars and breathed in by the nebula and used to form new star selves. And she knows that she has been on these stars and that her feelings are from a place that is beyond time and place, and yet they have a great meaning for her now. This is a true premonition, not an empathic moment where she feels the strange feelings and sensations of another, but she has had a postcard from the future, from a place far beyond her home. And so she waits, as all of us do, and as all of us with these experiences must. And she knows that while her premonition is ephemeral, as light as stardust, she knows too that it is powerful and will create ripples throughout all time and all places. These are lovely cards. Secret doorway. So resolving that energy. Working with the intuition, second sight and opening dimensional doorways. This beautiful being is half human, half fae and is rediscovering herself, excuse me, rediscovering herself and her ability to intuit the messages of nature and all that is. She is undergoing a process of deep and real change based on her association with the fae and her ability to finally understand that the trees and natural world are the keys to establishing communication with the fae. But she stands on the threshold of a world that seems ill-fitted to her. To understand and roam freely within, what can she do? Change her shape, become smaller like Alice in Wonderland? Truly, in order to reach the wonderment of Faery, you must become smaller. But that does not mean that to become a reduced version of yourself. Rather, it means to approach them or whatever situation is currently at hand as a beginner, a walker in a new world, and to be humble and willing to learn. This threshold will see her walk into another land, but she will still be able to walk in her own. See the light pouring through this humble doorway is enlightenment, meaning more knowledge, understanding and ability to communicate. She is peering through this door through which light can shine into a darkening world of humans, a world that is only darkened by the thought forms that provide a kind of emotional pollution in our world. She is ready to step through, to allow her imagination's wisdom to lead her into new realms and to accept the mystery of fairy communication. They have much to share with her and she is open to learning. Fairies circle about her now, rejoicing at this breakthrough, and she is breaking through her own fears of communicating with these fairy beings. As a result, her life's work will start now and she will find herself in the right place at the right time. As long as her relationship with nature remains pure and strong, so too will her relationship with the natural world. As this relationship deepens, her health and material wealth will also benefit in powerful ways. As the fairies love to see their own prosper and thrive and to take the message back. She is a liminal being, an in-betweener, and will walk between the worlds in the three realms of human, of fairy, and of the afterlife, or the Summerland. So, being able to see change ahead, understanding that in order to learn something new, you must forget what you think you know. Receiving messages from nature, getting down to the levels of others who do not know, understanding what wonderment is and the natural process of change. So that's it. Actually, it's three. Very quickly, I'll pull third card. The Green Man's Bride reversed. Now, the Green Man's Bride is marriage and the union of the god and the goddess. And so this seems to indicate a splitting of certain relationships that no longer work, that are no longer filling the spiritual in your life. If it's not an actual breaking of a relationship, then it is acknowledging that a relationship may have lost its spark, and to try and heal that. So maturing into deeper commitment is what the card means. So it's not just certain kind of one night stands and flings, it is a deep committed relationship that can bear the test of time. So when it's reversed, There is a warning of not acknowledging the necessity of honouring relationships and the balance of masculine and female. A denial that any kind of ceremony is of any importance. Finding meaningless commitment. A lack of trust and belief in the potential of relationships. Being unwilling to be involved in true partnership. Lacking devotion. Believing love is lost, and physical and short-lived only, or that romantic committed love is a fairy tale. It is, but it is not an unrealistic tale at all. It is our true nature, and we engage with ourselves more deeply when we love another in a committed, strong, free and blessed way. It may also bring up short-lived transient relationships or guilt around sexual union, fear of the self disappearing if committing to another. So, tackling, yet again, it's been all very emotional, related to healing relationships, encountering relationships, the beginning of relationships, but what are you seeking in those beginnings? Are you seeking ships that pass in the night? It's a fleeting payback, you know, some kind of temporary fulfillment? Or are you needing to find deeper, more committed relationships, and maybe you need to avoid relationships where people haven't got that kind of maturity to commit? Or to even realise that as human beings there's a deep longing for a committed union between male and female. In fact, we may be stronger together than we are alone. Just crossing that. Scared to fly. Scared to remove yourself and spread your wings. Scared to fly is not letting go of this unfulfilling and rather delicate situation she's in here. It's also saying sensing the right moment, sensing the right timing to fly. So yet again, things that may be stuck and need changing. There will be a moment where a door opens, and it's that moment that you may need to seize to fly free and take your wings. So thank you. It's been a long video. I hope this reading was some relevance to you. It's also an introduction to certain oracle decks, which I always love looking at other people's oracle decks. So here's a little tour of my own favourite ones. Let me know if you enjoyed this, if you'd like to know anything more about tarot reading, doing oracles, that kind of thing. If you like this, then please like and subscribe and share. And thank you all again for making it to the end, if you did, and I hope this had some benefit for you. And I hope to speak to you all again soon. Cheers, bye.